Well, we're all set to play ball now, and Pete Rose, left-handed batter, switch hitter, steps in here to face Bob Bruce. Second baseman for the Reds, and Bob winds up. Here's the first pitch of the ball game, and Rose bunts one off toward Fox at second base. Nellie hurries, goes to first, got him. Great play by Fox. There's a hard one to make. Rose bunted on the first pitch. Fox got that ball just on the edge of the infield grass, and with a quick hand, shoveled it over to Runnels, and there's one down. Here's the third baseman, Chico Ruiz now, one out, nobody on base. Rose came on hitting 194 tonight, 2 runs batted in, and Ruiz, also a switch hitter, batting left-handed, is hitting 304. He has 1 home run and 3 runs batted in. Got that home run out here last night inside the park. First pitch is inside at the knees, ball 1. Al Barlick is the umpire-in-chief tonight. Augie Donatelli is umpiring at first. Stan Landis is at second base, and Mel Steiner is umpiring at third. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Ruiz. Bouncing ball right back to Bob. Bruce has it. There's the throw to first, 2 down. So Ruiz is tapped back to the hill. 2 away, and that will bring up Beta Pinson. Pinson, a left-handed batter, hitting 414. 1 homer and 5 runs batted in. Pinson has hit safely in 7 consecutive ball games for the Reds. 360 down the lines here at Houston, 420 feet up the middle. Slow curveball, strike on the inside corner of the knees. Bruce, as most of you fans know, has a good assortment of curveballs, and his big weapon is his change of speeds. 1 strike to count. He will also use the slider and the fastball. Here's the pitch now. There's a fly ball to left center field. Spangler's over for it. Wynn carries it away from him. Still going. Makes the catch in deep left center field, and it retires the side. So on almost a minimum number of pitches, it's 3 up and 3 down for Cincinnati in the first. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. Top of the first inning, the Reds nothing, and the Colt 45s are coming to bat.
Let's have a Pearl beer. Pearl's the beer that brings refreshment from the country of 1100 springs. So let's have a cold Pearl beer.
Next time you pick up a 6-pack of Pearl, try the compact glass bottles. There's no deposit, no return, and pure glass protects that Pearl beer flavor. It's a flavor you get only in Pearl beer because it's brewed with choice grains and hops and famous spring water from the country of 1100 springs. With only the best going for you, how can you miss? Like the song says,
let's have a Pearl beer. Pearl's the beer that brings refreshment from the country of 1100 springs. So let's have a cold Pearl beer.
Leading off for Houston now in the bottom half of the first will be center fielder Al Spangler. Al is making his first start of the year tonight. First day of spring training and exhibition games. Al fractured his left wrist. He's back in action now. He has appeared twice at the plate prior to this. Left-handed batter, Spangler will be followed by Nellie Fox and Pete Runnels. Spangler is 0 for 2 in this young 64 season, and facing him is a big right-hander, Joey J. Ruiz on the grass at third. Here's the windup now by Jay, and the first pitch to Spangler, and he takes a strike up around the letters. Strike 1. Nobody out, nobody on. Bob Skinner in left, Beta Pinson in center, and Frank Robinson in right. Chico Ruiz at third, Leo Cardenas at short, Pete Rose at second base, Darren Johnson on first, and Johnny Edwards is catching. Ball outside, 1-1 count. Jay has won 1 and lost none so far this year. Went the distance his first time out, pitched 9 innings, has an ERA of 3.00. Here's the windup and the pitch on the way to Spangler. Al hits a foul off the left side. That'll be in the lower seats out of play, and it's 1-2. In 9 innings, last time out, Jay struck out 1 and walked 1. Wind blowing out of the right field corner again tonight. No score, bottom half of the first. Jimmy Adair coaching at first base for the 45s. Lumen Harris on third. Outfield is pulling Spangler to the right side. Here's the pitch by Jay. Curveball, line drive, beautiful grab by the first baseman, Darren Johnson. Ooh, that was a good one. Hard line drive back of first, and Spangler is robbed. I don't know whether that ball would have stayed fair or not. Johnson got the ball right inside the stripe and then carried it out as he made a very good catch on it, and there's one down. Here's Nellie Fox now. Nellie's the club's leading hitter average-wise with a .385. Also leads in runs batted in with 6. Left-handed batter. Spangler, Fox, Runnels, and Bond, the first 4 men to face Jay, bat left-handed. Here's the windup and the pitch on the way to Nell, and it's a fastball, 2 high, ball 1. Jay stands 6'4", weighs 230 pounds, 29-year-old right-hander. Born in Middletown, Connecticut. Jay now makes his home in Florida. 1 ball, no strikes. Left fielder Skinner is shaded to the opposite side toward the left field foul line for Fox. Is not too deep. Pinson a little bit over in left center field also. There's a strike up around the letters, and it's 1-1. Ball 1 and strike 1 on Fox. Runnels will be up next year in the bottom of the first, no score. Right-hander Joey Jay against right-hander Bob Bruce. Second game of the series. The Reds won the opener last night 10-5. The wrap-up will be at 7:30 here tomorrow night. Here's the 1-1 windup now. The pitch on the way to Fox hits a foul back into the screen, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jay originally signed a bonus contract with the Milwaukee Braves. That was in 1953. He had to stay with Milwaukee for 2 years, you'll remember, under the bonus rule at that time. He did, however, make a couple trips to the minors, but then was traded over to Cincinnati in 1960 at the tail end of the season. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Ball hit to left field. Skinner comes in for it, and he just got it right off his knees. Skinner seemed to lose that right away, but then picked it up. Then came charging in. The ball not hit too deep to left. Grabbed it right off his knees for the second out. So Fox has flied to shallow left field, 2 away. And here now is the first baseman, Pete Runnels. Pete bats left, hitting .280. He has 3 runs batted in. 2 outs, nobody on, bottom of the first. Here's Jay's first pitch to him. Curveball, line foul, down to the Houston bullpen and left. And it's strike 1. Jay's first year with Cincinnati was 1961, and 2 years in a row, 61 and 62, he won 21 ball games for Cincinnati. He had an off year last year. He won only 7. Ball is high. 1961, he won 21 and lost 10, and in 62, he won 21 and lost 14, but last year won only 7 while losing 18. 1 ball, 1 strike on Runnels. 2 out, nobody on. Fastball, high and inside, ball 2. So this is the 11th year in the National League for Jay. He has won 74 games and lost 66. Going into this ball game tonight, 1-0 so far this year. Here's the 2-1 pitch on the way to Runnels now. Fast strike on the outside corner of the knees. And it's ball 2 and strike 2. Spangler has lined to first. Fox has flied to left. 2 outs. No score, bottom of the first. Ball 2 and strike 2 now on Runnels. Big right-hander, Joey Jay. Here's the windup and the pitch on the way to Pete. There's a ground ball base hit to the left of Cotterness into left center field. And Pete is on with the first hit of the ball game. So Runnels is singled with 2 outs. And that will bring up the left fielder, Walt Bond. Bond is hitting .063 as he comes in tonight. He has had 1 hit so far this year, and that was a triple. He has 1 for 16. The 4th consecutive left-handed batter to face Jay. Runnels takes his lead off first base. And the first pitch on the way to Bond. Fast strike called at the knees. Strike 1. We beat Jay twice last year. He had an 0-2 mark against the Colt 45s, but his lifetime record against Houston is on the plus side. He has 5 wins, 3 defeats against Houston in 2 years in the National League. Ball low, and it's a ball and a strike now on Bond. Bond stands 6'6", weighs 235 pounds. So we got a couple of real good heavyweights looking at each other here. Jay at 6'4", 230, Bond at 6'6", 235. Ball 1 and strike 1. Runnels takes the lead away from Darren Johnson on first base. Here's the pitch to Bond. It's outside, ball 2, strike 1. 0-0, bottom of the first. 45s have put the first man on base tonight as Bob Bruce retired the Reds 1-2-3 in the top half. Shortstop Leo Cardenas shaded way over by second base, pulling Bond around the right side. Walt hits a fly ball to right field, and Frank Robinson moves in a few steps on the run now as the wind takes it away, but he makes the catch easily to retire the side. So for Houston in the first, no runs on one hit. There were no errors. One was left on. At the end of the first inning of play at Colt Stadium tonight, Cincinnati nothing and Houston nothing.
The music starts at night in the country of 1100 Springs. That's when you can really hear the water. During the day, you've been too busy looking to listen. Darkness turns up the volume. This splash of clear water on clean rock is one of the world's finest waters, and it's used to brew pearl beer. Still chilly from the springs, it gives a brief concert before it disappears again into the limestone. The stone takes the water deep underground, straight to the artesian wells of the Pearl Brewery. Fresh from the Hill Country Springs, it's a great natural brewing water that brings out flavors you miss in other beers.
Let's have a Pearl beer. Pearl's the beer that brings refreshment from the country of 1100 Springs. So let's have a cold Pearl beer.
Right fielder Frank Robinson leads off for Cincinnati. Your time is called. Rusty Staub is going to tie a shoe out there in right field before action gets underway. Robinson will be followed by Darren Johnson and Bob Skinner here in the top of the second inning. One game in the National League this afternoon. San Francisco defeated Milwaukee 8-6, and that moved the Giants into undisputed first place in the National League. Here is Robinson hitting .267, 2 runs batted in. Right-handed hitter takes the first pitch from Bruce, 2 high, ball 1. This is Bruce's second appearance of the year, but his first start. He is 0-0. He's pitched 2 innings, given up 1 hit, no runs, struck out 6 in his first 2 innings of pitching, no walks. There's a base hit right through the box, up the middle, and Robinson is on with the first hit off Bruce. Spangler up with it out at center field, fires it back into Fox at second. So Frank Robinson is single to start the second inning. That will bring up the first baseman, Darren Johnson. Al Johnson is hitting .429, 2 home runs and 7 runs batted in. Freddie Hutchinson is getting some good mileage out of this 25-year-old first baseman. He is hoping that he is for real here. Here's the stretch now. Look over to first, the pitch into Johnson. Strike on the outside corner of the letters. He started to go and then checked his swing on it. Bob Skinner will be up next. Bob Bruce, a right-hander, 29 years old. Bob was born in Detroit. Makes his home now in Livonia, Michigan, just outside the Motor City. Stands 6'3" and weighs 200 pounds. Curveball, ooh, that was a good one. Swing and a miss, and it's strike 2. Nobody out, Robinson on first. Second inning, no score. Bob came up through the Detroit chain, pitched professionally in 1953, his first season, and made his first appearance with the Tigers in 1959. Here's the pitch on the way to Johnson. He got him with a fastball. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. So Johnson goes down swinging as Bruce gets his first strikeout. And that will bring up the left fielder, Bob Skinner, a left-handed batter. Skinner is hitting .235. He has 1 homer and 3 runs batted in. Although Skinner is not boasting a good, strong batting average here in the early going, he has been holding down the left field spot regularly. There's some other pretty good candidates for that job on this Cincinnati club. Here's the pitch in, and Skinner takes a fastball inside at the knees. Brody cocks his arm on the start of a throw to first, but holds it up. Brody catching, Runnels at first, Fox at second, Casco short, Aspromonte third. Bond is at left field, Spangler in center, and Staub in right. 1 out, Robinson on first. And a 1-ball, no strike count on left-handed batter Bob Skinner. Bruce stretches. Here's the pitch. Fastball inside again. Ball 2. Coaching at first base for Freddie Hutchinson's Reds, Dick Sisler. And Reggie Otero is the coach on third. The outfield very deep and around the right side. For for Bob Skinner, a left-handed batter. Stretch again by Bruce. Here's the pitch. Ground ball right side. Runnels up with it, loses it, and he's not going to be able to make a play. He did, but too late. Runnels had that ball, and then it got away from him, and it rolled over towards second base about halfway between first and second. And that's going to be charged as an error to Pete Runnels. So Skinner is safe on the error by Runnels as Robinson holds on at second base, and that'll bring up the catcher, John Edwards. Edwards hitting 240, left-handed batter. Edwards has 3 runs batted in. So the Reds have their first threat going here tonight with Robinson on second and Skinner on first and 1 out. No score. Bruce checks his runner. Not too big a lead by Robinson on second base. Ball gets away from Grody. The runners will hold. That's right over the top of Grody's mitt. He hustled back in a hurry to pick it up, and it's 1 ball, no strikes. In that San Francisco-Milwaukee game today, Bobby Henley was the winner, and Denny LeMaster was the loser. There were 5 home runs in that game today, and 2 players got them all. 1 ball, no strikes. Skinner at first, Robinson at second. 1 out. Bruce working on John Edwards. Here's the pitch now, and Edwards grounds a ball to the second baseman. Fox goes to second base. Throw to Casco's in time, but there's no chance for the relay back as Robinson moves up to third. So Edwards safe on the fielder's choice. Skinner is out at second base. Fox to Casco for the second out, and now here's the shortstop, Leo Cardenas. Cardenas takes a strike up around the letters. Right-handed batter hitting 400, 1 home run, 5 runs batted in. 2 outs, Robinson on third, Edwards on first. Quite a few players have hit 3 home runs in a ball game, but only 9 in the history of baseball have hit 4 in a single ball game. Bruce pitching very carefully now. There's a look over to first. Here's the pitch on the way to Cardenas. There's a bouncing ball way back in the hole. Good play by Casco, and they got him. Oh, that was a beauty. Eddie Casco took that sharp ground ball back in the hole. Luckily, there was a runner on first, and he got the force at second of Edwards coming down, and a throw to Nellie Fox. Great play by Casco, and that prevents a run here in the second inning. No runs on 1 hit. There was 1 error. 2 men were left on base, and we go now to the last of the second. Houston nothing, Cincinnati nothing.
The other day, I was holding a can of Pearl beer, like I'm doing right now. The can was good and cold, and I was sort of tracing my finger through the frost. And I started looking at the picture on the can. It shows one of those pretty little streams in the country of 1100 Springs. You've seen it. Well, anyway, I got to thinking about that cold, clear spring water, how it travels underground to the Pearl Brewery, how it brings out that good malt and hop flavor, and how much the other breweries would like to have Pearl's brewing water. Well, it sounded so good that I finished that Pearl and had another one. I guess that's why they put the picture on the can. So why don't you settle back with a Pearl right now and see for yourself? It sure is refreshing. Say, Dad, next time you go fishing, ice down a couple of Pearl 6-packs. You may not catch more fish, but it'll sure make the sitting pleasurable. Pearl.
I don't know. I was thinking of your fishing experiences down in spring training. Lost a string of 17 and got away. The only time that he had a chance to prove it went out, he didn't catch anything. Some kind of a fisherman.
Fans may not believe that, but it's true. Rene Cardenas over here and Senor Sanchez, we went fishing, and we had a string of 21 on there.
21.
And the whole string got away.
Here's Bob Aspromonte now as we start the last of the second. Aspro will be followed by Rusty Staub and Eddie Casco. Aspro hitting 360. 1 homer and 3 runs batted in. Bats right-handed. Here's Jay's pitch on the way. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Aspromonte is hit safely now in all 7 games. Coming up for the first time here tonight in a scoreless ball game. Jay gave up a hit in the first inning to Pete Runnels. Here's the pitch to Aspro. Low and inside. Ball 1 and strike 1. 1-1 count. Nobody out, nobody on. Staub in the on-deck circle off the left side. 45s are batting .239 as a team starting this game tonight. Here's the 1-1 pitch now by Jay. Aspro takes it over but low, and it's ball 2 and strike 1. 2-1 count. Well, tomorrow night at 7:30, the Reds will be in here for the final game of this 3-game set. Over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 45s will be in St. Louis, but back here on Monday against the Dodgers. Ball 2 and strike 1. Here's the pitch now. There's a start of the swing. He checked, and it caught the outside corner at the knees, a fastball. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Aspromonte. Joey Jay and Bob Bruce. We have 2 right-handers going tonight. And it's 0-0 here in the second. Here's the 2-2 pitch on the way to Aspro. Struck him out, took one on the outside corner at the letters, and Jay has just picked up his first strikeout of the ball game. That'll bring up Rusty Staub, a left-handed batter. 1 out. Rusty is hitting 188. As he steps in here tonight. Outfield and infield shift around the right side for him. Jay looks in to get his sign now from Johnny Edwards. Here's the windup and the first pitch to Staub. Curveball and drop low inside, and it's ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Pittsburgh at Philadelphia and Chicago at New York were both rained out in the National League today. The only other game going tonight, Los Angeles at St. Louis, is just getting underway. Sandy Koufax is going for Los Angeles and Kurt Simmons for St. Louis. The only day game was San Francisco 8, Milwaukee 6. 1 ball, no strikes. Here's the pitch to Staub. Now Rusty bounces one back at first base. Johnson makes the play easily unassisted, and there are 2 men out. So Staub bounces right to first to Johnson for the second out. And now here's the shortstop, Eddie Casco. Casco has been leading off, but has been moved down in the batting order inasmuch as Spangler is playing tonight, and Harry Kraft put him in the leadoff spot. Here's Eddie, made a great play to end the Cincinnati half of this inning. He's batting .258 with 3 runs batted in. Casco, right-handed batter. 2 outs and nobody on. Here's the first pitch by Jay. Curveball that missed outside, and it's ball 1. Outfield is pretty well straight away for Casco. The right fielder, Robinson, just a shade off the opposite side for him. Jay throws again now, and Eddie takes a strike this time. Belt high, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. A couple of transactions announced today. Gene Connolly has been released by the Boston Red Sox, and the Philadelphia Phillies announced that they have purchased the contract of Ed Roebuck from the Washington Senators. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Ball low outside. Ball 2 and strike 1. Roebuck sent over to Washington last year from the Dodgers, now back over in the National League again. 2 outs and nobody on base. Last of the second. Here's the 2-1 pitch now to Casco. Fastball, and Eddie fouls it back into the screen, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. One afternoon game in the American League, the Minnesota Twins defeated Washington 7-6. Bill Price won it, and Marshall Bridges was the losing pitcher. Ball 2, strike 2. Here's the windup and the pitch on the way now to Casco, low outside. Full count now, 3-2. Muscarin had a home run for the Senators in that game. Tony Oliva, Rich Rollins, and Don Mincher all had home runs for the Twins. Sam Mealy used 9 pitchers in that game today. Minnesota won it 7-6 over the Senators. Here's the 3-2 pitch now. Ball 4, low and outside. He started to go for that pitch, but checked in time. And that will bring up the catcher, Jerry Grody. That's the first walk off Jay. So the 45s with 2 outs now have Casco on first, and here is Grody. This is the first appearance at the plate for Grody this year. Jerry caught 3 games at the tail end of last year. This is his second year in professional baseball. 2 outs, no score, last half of the second inning. Not too big a lead off first base by Casco, and Grody takes it low and outside for ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. This portion of tonight's broadcast is being sent your way by the Pearl Brewing Company of San Antonio, makers of Pearl beer. Jay checks his runner again now. 1-0 on Grody, right-handed batter. Casco breaks, swing and a miss on the hit and run, and Casco is in there with a stolen base. There's the first attempt by a 45 to steal a base this year, and Casco made it. Our first try. So Casco has stolen the first base for Houston this year. And the throw by Edwards was too late. Actually, he stole that base off Jay. He got a big jump on him. Swing and a miss by Grote, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. So Casco is in scoring position with 2 outs. Long stretch now by Jay, and the pitch into Grote, a curveball. He fooled him on that one. Reached out for it, it broke away from him, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Boston at Baltimore postponed today because of inclement weather. 3 night games are on the schedule in the American League tonight. 2 outs now. Grote waves the bat around. Casco's on second base. 1-2 count on the Houston catcher. Jay set again now. Here's the pitch, and Grote swings and fouls it up into the seats. 1-2 count. Kansas City leads Cleveland 1-0 at the end of the first, but it's raining in Kansas City right now. Jack Kralik is going for the Indians. Jack O'Donohue is going for Kansas City. And Al Smith had a home run, or rather, Dick Smith had a home run for Kansas City in the second inning. Don't make that Al Smith for Cleveland in the second inning to tie it up. There's a drive to deep right center field. Pinson way back, can't get it. It's off the wall. Houston leads 1-0. Grote will go for 3. Here's the relay, and Grote has tripled, and it's 1-0 Houston. Oh, he really gave that one a ride. Jerry Grote hit the 427 sign in right center field. Driving in Casco. So Grote opens the season here in great style with a 3-bagger and a run batted in. And here's the pitcher, Bob Bruce. Oh, that was a sweet one. And it's 1-0 Houston. Jerry hit very well in spring training. Here's Bruce up for the first time this year. Runner on third, 2 outs. Very high, ball 1, 1 ball, no strikes. Walk to Casco, stolen base, and a 3-bagger by Jerry Grote. That's the second hit in the major leagues for Grote. He had 1 hit last year. Here's the pitch on the way now. There's a high pop-up in the infield off the right side, and Darren Johnson is there for it in foul territory. Makes the catch, and that retires the side. So Bruce has fouled out to first, but Houston goes out in front here in the second. 1 run on 1 hit. There were no errors, and 1 man left on base. And after 2 innings of play, the Colt 45s won, and Cincinnati nothing.
If you're the kind of man who likes a simple life, an outdoor vacation with the kids and the wife, a hunting or a fishing trip, you like that kind of thing. You like the beer from the country of 1100 Springs. Let's have a Pearl beer. Pearl's a beer that brings refreshment from the country of 1100 Springs. So let's have a cold Pearl beer.
Pearl beer has the flavor you miss in other beers. Try Pearl and see.
Refreshment from the country of 1100 Springs. So let's have a cold Pearl beer.
Reds pitcher Joey Jay will lead off now in the top half of the third, with Houston leading 1-0. Jay will be followed by Pete Rose and then Chico Ruiz. Jay is a switch hitter. He'll be batting left-handed here against Bruce. Jay has not had a hit this year. Bob goes into his windup now. Here's the first pitch. Jay takes a big cut. Swing and a miss and a strike 1. Jay's a pretty fair hitter. Detroit will be at Los Angeles and New York at Chicago. All right, Bob Green? 1 strike. There's a curve strike on the inside corner of the knees. 2 strikes. 1-0 Houston, top of the third. Pitcher Joey Jay facing Bob Bruce. Bob has given up 1 hit, a single by Robinson in the second inning. Fastball low and outside, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bruce came to Houston just before the National League season started in '62. from the Detroit Tigers in a trade. Here's the 1-2 pitch now. Curveball got him. Beautiful pitch. Nice soft curveball on the inside corner of the knees. Jay didn't like the call. He just drops the bat and walks away from the plate. Let's pause here for station identification. This is the Colt 45's Baseball Network.
And KPRC 95.0 in Houston. 71 degrees at 8 o'clock.
One out now, nobody on. Here's the first pitch to Rose. Fastball is outside. Bruce now has 2 strikeouts. Rookie of the year for the National League last year, Pete Rose, batting left-handed against Bruce, bounced out to second base on a bunt his first time up. Here's the pitch. Big swing. He really gave that one a cut. Almost sailed right down to first base himself. 1 ball and 1 strike. Aspromonte close at third. Rose a very good bunter, and he has good speed. 1 out, nobody on. Here's the windup by Bruce. Rose takes a fastball that's inside, and it's ball 2 and strike 1. This Cincinnati club does have a lot of speed on it. Rose, Ruiz, Pinson, Robinson. Skinner is very fast for a big man also. And Cardenas is not slow at all either. There's a bouncing ball to Fox. Nelly charges it, goes to first base. They got him. And 2 men are out. Rose for the second time. Goes out to Fox. And that will bring up the third baseman, Chico Ruiz. Ruiz bounced out on a tap back to the mound to Bruce his first time up.
Third baseman Chico Ruiz.
Ruiz could very well challenge anybody in this league in the speed department. Of course, he has the added advantage of batting left-handed. Actually, he's a switch hitter. 2 outs, nobody on. 45's lead it, third inning, 1-0. Bruce throws into Ruiz. There's a fly ball back into center field. Spangler's on for it. That's a high one. Al waits. He's got it, and that retires the side. 3 up and 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. Bottom of the third coming up now. Houston 1, Cincinnati nothing.
Are you in a big city apartment, relaxed, listening to the game? In a farmhouse, maybe, looking out across the fields, thinking about this game and a million other things. Maybe you're away from home, listening in your car, a motel, or a friendly tavern. Well, wherever you are, whoever you are, the people at Pearl hope you're enjoying this game and the good beer they brew. Pearl beer is brewed with famous spring water from the country of 1100 springs, and that's what makes it better. The water brings out flavor you miss in other beers. Enjoy Pearl in the glass bottle you don't take back. Cools more beer in less space, and pure glass protects natural beer flavor.
Let's have a Pearl beer. Pearl's the beer that brings refreshment from the country of 1100 springs. So let's have a cold Pearl beer. If you miss them,
Bottom half of the third inning, and Al Spangler leads off here now. Al was robbed of a base hit his first time up on a good play by first baseman Darren Johnson. In the Pacific Coast League tonight, Tacoma is at Oklahoma City. Chuck Taylor will be up for the 89ers tonight. And Tulsa is playing at San Antonio. Marv Dutt will be pitching for the Bullets. We'll keep you posted on those games. Our 2 top farm clubs, Oklahoma City in the Pacific Coast League and San Antonio in the Texas League. Al Spangler, left-handed batter. Here's Jay's windup now. The first pitch on the way, and Al takes a high one, ball 1. 1-0. 1 ball, no strikes. Nobody out here in the third inning. Here's the next pitch now by Jay. A fastball tapped off the first base side. Johnson makes the pickup, and Jay covers and just beats Spangler in by a step. So there is 1 out. Spangler seemed to be trying to check his swing on that one. The ball hit the bat and was tapped toward first base. Johnson had to hurry on the play. Jay covered, and there's 1 away. Here's Nelly Fox. He flied the left field his first time up. Sandy Koufax out for the 3rd time this year at St. Louis tonight, trying to break the Dodgers' 6-game losing streak. Kurt Simmons up for the Cardinals. Nellie Fox, left-handed batter. Houston leading 1-0 here in the bottom of the third inning. Joey J on the mound for the Reds. Ball in the dirt, bounces away from Edwards. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. 1-0 count. Cincinnati again tomorrow night. Game time 7:30. Ken Johnson will be up against his former teammates here tomorrow night, making his second appearance against the Reds this year. Here's the 1-0 pitch now. There's a high pop off the left side. Ruiz racing back for it, but he just couldn't get to it. Ruiz, had he kept coming as fast as he was moving, really would have barreled into the railing by the Houston dugout. He slowed up a little bit, and the ball just dropped inside the fence, but he couldn't hang on to it. 1 ball and 1 strike. There'll be no play on that one. 1-1 on Nellie Fox. Houston scored in the second with 2 outs. Casco walked, stole second base, and Jerry Grody tripled him in to the 427 sign in right center field. Now the count is 1-1 on Fox. Jay throws the curveball, and Nellie lofts one into right center field. Frank Robinson lopes over for it, and he's got it. And there are 2 men out. So Fox flies to right field for the second out here in the third. And now here's Pete Runnels. Pete singled between second base and the shortstop Leo Cardenas his first time up. Houston with 5 left-handed batters in the lineup tonight. The first 4 in the order, and then Rusty Staub. Pete hits a foul up into the seats back over the screen. Strike 1. San Francisco now leads the National League over second place Philadelphia by a half a game. Hope we're getting a little shower. Here's the pitch on the way. There's a ball. It's too high. And in the American League, Minnesota and Baltimore are in a virtual tie for first. Baltimore actually by percentage points. Here's the 1-1 pitch on the way now, and Runnels takes a strike on the inside corner at the knees, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, quite a few of the fans have come prepared. Bob Boyne is on that machine again. 1-2 count. Here's the pitch. Ball, it's too high. Ball 2 and strike 2. I introduced Bob Green as our technician tonight, and it threw him. He's having a bad night. Ball 2, strike 2. Here's the pitch on the way to Runnels now. There's a fly ball to left center field, but Veda Pinson is playing Runnels just right in deep left center and hauls it in, and that retires the side. 3 up and 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. And at the end of 3 innings of play, Houston 1, Cincinnati nothing. Say, are you by any chance one of the fortunate few ever privileged to actually watch a no-hitter? Well, I have, and believe me, it's a thrill I'll never forget. And if you should ever be lucky enough to be in the stands when it happens again, imagine the thrill if you also happen to be keeping score. The new Colt 45's baseball scorebook contains enough pages for 20 games, any one of which could someday become a collector's item. Your chances depend to some extent on the number of games you see, but even if you're at home listening, you'll enjoy using this scorebook. Now, if you've never learned to score, just read the complete, easy-to-follow instructions or use any system you like. Any way you look at it or use it, the Colt 45's official baseball scorebook will bring you hours of pleasure. Just send your name and address and $1 for each book to Scorebook, Post Office Box 19304, Houston. $1 with your name and address to Scorebook, Post Office Box 19304, Houston. Return postage is prepaid. 1-0 Houston now as we move into the first half of the 4th inning here at Colt Stadium. And right now, let's hear from Lowell Pass.
All right, Gene, thank you. Hi, everybody. And Veda Pinson, left-hand batting center fielder, is up there to lead off as Bob Bruce gets his sign and he's ready. There's the windup. And the pitch is on the way. Swung on it down to the right side, through off the glove of Runnels and out into shallow right for a base hit. Runnels did a nice job driving out to his right, trying a backhand on it. So Pinson is on as Frank Robinson steps up. Robinson had a single, slashed it up the middle in the second inning. 8 straight games for Veda Pinson to hit safely now. So he is indeed a tough one. Veda came on with a .414 average. Robinson had a hit in the second, as we told you, and it upped his average to 290. Now the infield at double play depth. Outfield very deep on Robinson's pitch, and it's changed outside, ball one. Of course, the big curve of Bob Bruce, that's his bread and butter pitch. And Bob occasionally will reach back and pour on a little steam there and whip it down a little fast. A check of the runner. Benson got a lot of speed. The pitch, and it swung on foul back. That's on the screen. Ball one and strike one. You may recall that Bob Bruce one hit the Cincinnati Reds last year right here at Colt Stadium. That was on April the 26th, as he allowed only one meek hit and shut him out. April 26th last year. Ready to work again. Benson leads off the pitch. Change, and it's, I guess, a ball outside. The umpire just sort of shuffled and did a little dance there. He didn't throw up right or left hand. Ball two and strike one. It was very close. Robinson has 2 runs batted in on the season. Big Frank, 9 hits now and 31 times to the plate. Here's Johnson's check of Benson, and the pitch is swung on and missed. Ball two and strike two. He pulled the cord there on a big, slow curve and had Robinson scrambling for it. Ball two and strike two. I noticed Ken Johnson had Frank Robinson wave around and feel around up in the air for one of his knuckleballs in that opening game. Like he couldn't see it, just reaching, trying to feel around and find it. Ball two and strike two. He's a tough man up there, I'll tell you. Is Veto's lead off at first. Johnson's pitch, Bruce's pitch swung on down to Nellie Fox. One down over to Casco after first, and it's a double play. Killen and Robinson put up a big complaint on that one. First base up for Augie Donatelli making the call, and here comes manager Hutchinson out of the dugout. And they're really putting on an argument down there. They're pouring on the cold. Double play. Nellie Fox to Casco and back to Runnels. 4-6-3. And the argument continues. That'll bring on Darren Johnson. The base is clear now with 2 out. And right in batter, the first baseman. Still a little bit of rhubarbing going on down there at first. But now they finally get out of there. Well, while we have that little break, why don't you take a break and enjoy a cold Pearl beer? It's number 1. Well, Hutch is putting that forefinger of the right hand out there in no uncertain terms and most emphatic gestures, as if to say, you booted that call. But the umpire, Augie Donatelli, insists that it was out at first to complete the double play. And now Hutch has departed the scene and disappeared back into the dugout. All right, batter up, and Darren Johnson, a right-hand hitter, is up there. It's the 4th inning of play here at Colt Stadium, and Bruce's pitch swung on, hit early foul off to the left side. He rolls that one to the left of the plate. Strike one. 1-0, Houston leads. Both clubs now with 2 hits. Veda Penson smashing a single off the glove of first baseman Pete Runnels, and then was doubled up on a nice play. Fox over to Casco, back to Runnels, as Robinson was doubled at first. Bruce with the rock back to pitch, and there's just a little outside. Ball one and strike one. Most of you know that Bruce came in the other night and pitched 2 innings and struck out 6 batters. How do you like those apples? I'll tell you right now, some kind of pitching. Throw, swung on. He tried to check it and fouled it back. Seemed to be up around the handle of the bat. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Johnson, who originally was with the Yankee organization, and then last year out on the Pacific Coast, he really tore the cover off that baseball and is looking quite good right now. The pitch swung on and popped into shallow left. Going out Casco, it's over his shoulder. He can't get it. Drops in out there. A little looping single to left field. So Darren Johnson comes through with the 3rd hit off by Bruce. So Bruce so far has allowed 3 hits, and he has struck out 2. Has not walked a man. 1 runner was on by an error. We've had 2 stranded for the Cincinnati Reds. All right, here's Bob Skinner, left-hand batter. The pitch to him now, and he takes a ball just inside. Jerry Grody is doing the catching for the 45s tonight. Aspermani at third, Casco at short. At second base, it's Nellie Fox, and at first base, Pete Runnels. Walt Bond at left, Al Spangler starting in center field tonight, and Rusty Staub in right. Right field to left field, breeze blowing. Bruce rocking, delivers, swung on, drilled into the dirt, foul off to the right of the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike for Bob Skinner. This hitter, batting right now at 222, has 3 runs batted in. Skinner has 1 double and 1 home run. He had that opening day in Cincinnati. Outfield way around to the right straight away. Infield playing for 1 man, of course. Runner at first takes his lead. Here's Bruce. Down with the pitch, change, and it misses outside. That was a little lob throw over the outside edge. The way hitter. Ball 2. Hitter is up there. It's the 4th inning of play here at Colt Stadium, and Bruce's pitch swung on, hit early foul off to the left side. He rolls that one to the left of the plate. Strike 1. 1-0, Houston leads. Both clubs now with 2 hits. Vada Pinson smashing a single off the glove of first baseman Pete Runnels, and then was doubled up on a nice play. The Fox over to Casco, back to Runnels, as Robinson was doubled at first. Bruce with the rock back to pitch, and there's just a little outside. Ball 1 and strike 1. Most of you know that Bruce came in the other night and pitched 2 innings and struck out 6 batters. How do you like those apples? I tell you right now, some kind of pitching. Throw, swung on, and he tried to check it, fouled it back. Seemed to be up around the handle of the bat. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Johnson, who originally was with the Yankee organization, and then last year out on the Pacific Coast, he really tore the cover off that baseball and is looking quite good right now. The pitch swung on and popped into shallow left. Going out Casco, it's over his shoulder. He can't get it. Drops in out there. A little looping single to left field. So Darren Johnson comes through with the 3rd hit off by Bruce. So Bruce so far has allowed 3 hits, and he has struck out 2. Has not walked a man. 1 runner was on by an error. We've had 2 stranded for the Cincinnati Reds. All right, here's Bob Skinner, left-hand batter. The pitch to him now, and he takes a ball just inside. Jerry Grody is doing the catching for the 45s tonight. Aspermani at third, Casco at short. At second base, it's Nellie Fox, and at first base, Pete Runnels. Walt Bond at left, Al Spangler starting in center field tonight, and Rusty Staub in right. Right field to left field, breeze blowing. Bruce rocking, delivers, swung on, drilled into the dirt, foul off to the right of the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike for Bob Skinner. This hitter, batting right now at 222, has 3 runs batted in. Skinner has 1 double and 1 home run. He had that opening day in Cincinnati. Outfield way around to the right straight away. Infield playing for 1 man, of course. Runner at first takes his lead. Here's Bruce. Down with the pitch, change, and it misses outside. That was a little lob throw over the outside edge. The hitter. Ball 2, strike 1. Big, tall, gangling Bob Skinner waggling that stick around. And here's Bruce with the pitch. It swung on and missed. Ball to strike 2. Why are you chunking in there, Bob? Time, and Jerry Grody has to have an exchange of equipment as the mitt. I guess the lacings of the mitt broken through, and he had to have a new one right quickly. He didn't waste much time, did he, fellas? He's right back into position, crouching behind the plate. Bruce ready now. Ball 2, strike 2. 2 out, no base runners. 1-0 score as Houston leads over Cincinnati, first of the fourth inning. Here's Bob Bruce coming in with a pitch. Swung on, and he couldn't check it. Strike 3. Bruce breezed him. No runs, 2 hits, 1 left. There were no errors. We move into the last half of the fourth inning. The score is Houston 1, Cincinnati nothing.
Let's have a Pearl beer. Pearl's the beer that brings refreshment from the country of 1100 springs. So let's have a cold Pearl beer.
Next time you lift a bottle of Pearl out of the ice, look at it. Cold drops of moisture trickle down the picture on the label, part of the country of 1100 springs. Then pop the cap, and a wisp of vapor curls up the neck. Your invitation to refreshment. It's great beer. Beer with life.
All righty, about ready to go now. Last half of the fourth inning, and Walter Bond will be the lead batter for Houston, followed by Bob Aspromonte and then Rusty Staub. With a 1-0 score, Houston leading. Johnny Temple, of all people, was waved from the scene. Temple leaves the premises. He was doing a little squawking from the dugout, and the plate umpire, Al Barlick, stepped over to the right, spun around, and waved him out. And now he just has snapped his head around. He was, Barlick, walking back to the plate, spun around suddenly, and that's a little warning gesture to someone else back there in the dugout. So the tempers are beginning to flare out here. Very sensitive feelings sticking out all around like a porcupine out here tonight. 1-0 Houston. It's the last half of the fourth inning. Walt Bond, who flied to right field, will lead, and there goes the throw down to second. We're about to get play underway. Well, Nellie Fox told us again tonight, Gene, that his family, the wife and all, up in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, listening, and the game was coming in loud and clear. They're picking it up on WWL New Orleans. All right, here we go. The windup by Joey J. The pitch down. Walter takes, and it's tight in there against him for ball 1. Bond was striding in, and right at the last instant had to pull out of there. Ball 1. Now set and rocking away. The right-hander comes down with a pitch. Bond fouls it back, high onto the wire. 1 ball and 1 strike for Walter. Bond has 1 hit in his appearances at bat this year. San Antonio, 4 runs. The Bullets had 4 runs in the first inning. And Tulsa none at the end of 1 inning of play. Marv Dutt is pitching for the Bullets. Here's the next pitch. Ball missing. Outside low. Ball 2 and strike 1. Big Walter Bond, 6'6", and has the ability to lose one out of this ballpark. They're playing him deep to right. The pitch swung on, hit down that right field line, but it pulled sharply and it's going foul. Oh boy, that was a shot. Ball 2 and strike 2. Ball 2, strike 2, and a score of 1-0 as Houston has taken a lead. Jay's ready. The pitch swung on, bounced down to the first baseman, out into foul territory. Just a step or so out there. Ball 2 and strike 2. Count holds on. Aspromonte waiting. Chico Ruiz is the third baseman for the Reds, with Leo Cardenas at short, Pete Rose the second baseman, and Darren Johnson at the first baseman. Bob Skinner back in left field. Later Penson in center, and Frank Robinson in right. Pitch swung on back over the pitcher's glove and out across second. Picked up a Rose. The throw to first is out in time. Boy, that was almost too close to be true. And Bond digs out of there. Bond sort of pulled up and looked into the sky just a fleeting second, as if to say, what'd he say? He said, out. And chases back to the dugout. So second baseman Pete Rose, moving out near the bag behind the pitcher's mound, took that one and flipped to first just in time, and Aspromonte is the batter, and the pitch to Bob is inside. He backs away. Ball 1. 1-0 score. Houston leads. We're in the last half of the fourth inning. Astro looked at a third called strike in the second inning. Now ready? The pitch. High and inside, and he leans out of there again. Ball 2 and no strikes. Well, we're going to be up in Cincinnati for the next road trip, but we have another game on the homestand tomorrow night. Make your plans accordingly, folks, and be right here. 7:30, the starting time. 2-0 delivery, and Aspro looks at ball low. Ball 3 and no strikes. So 3-0 with 1 out. And next up there, Rusty Staub. Here's the pitch. There's ball 4. He missed on 4 straight pitches to Aspromonte. Second base on balls, dished up there by Joey J.
Number 10, right fielder
Staub. Rusty grounded to the first baseman unassisted in the second inning. So let's see what Rusty can do now. Staub has 3 hits on the season, but of course has not been in there on most of the games regularly. They're switching him around now, playing left-hand hitters and right-hand batters according to who's pitching. Here's the throw. Swung on, driven to right field, well tagged, and going back for it is Robinson back near the warning pad. He's there and has it for the out. So Rusty is out, and Aspro jogs back to first. That one died as it got up into that breeze. A good brisk wind blowing again tonight, throwing right field to left field. And here's Eddie Casco. Eddie drew a base on balls in the second inning and came on around to score on a 3-bagger. Drilled out into right center by Jerry Grody. All right, the outfield just about straight away on Eddie Casco. Stretched by Joey J. The pitch, and there goes the runner breaking. Aspro, and the ball gets away from the catcher. No worry there, but Aspro hit the dirt sliding, and a stolen base. That's our second stolen base of the season, both of them coming here tonight. Casco went on down and stole second in the second inning. That was our first stolen base of the year. He actually had a break of a halfway jaunt to second by the time Jay was pitching, and this time Aspro got a good break on him too. Which may have taken his eye off the ball and missed it. Pitch, curve, a little bit low outside. Ball 2 and no strikes. Jerry Grody is on deck. 1-0 score. Houston leads, and we're playing the last half of inning number 4. Oh, what are you saying there, Eddie? With 2 men out, we got a man at second. Pick him up. Bob Aspromonte leads off. Here's the pitch down. Casco swings and hits bouncing foul back to third. And on down into the bullpen area. 2 balls, 1 strike. Well, of course, the old regular season just now getting off the ground, so to speak, and getting ready to go for a thrilling 1964. And we hope that you have plans already made to come out and see many games here in Houston at Colt Stadium. Here's Joey J. with a look back on the run of the pitch to the plate. Fastball swung on and foul. High back of third, drifting back into the crowd. All right, it's even up on the count for Eddie Casco, and Jerry Grody is the next batter. Ball 2, strike 2, 2 on, 2 out, 1 on, and the score of 1-0 as Houston leads. Big Joey J. A giant of a man on that mound. Comes off that stretch and around with the arm and the pitch. He swung on, hit down, foul past third base. Ball 2, strike 2 as Casco had the pitch breaking in a little close on him as he swung that time. So we've had a total of 2 hits off the right-hander. Ronald's clean shot single hit out a bit towards left center in the first inning, and Grody's triple hit to right center. And all the way, it went all the way up the power alley. His pitch, swung on, hit down the left line, but curving and going foul. He got out a little early on his swing that time and had a nice darter going down the left field line, but it pulled foul. Ball 2 and strike 2. Well, tomorrow night at 7:30, Houston tackles Cincinnati in the third and final, of course, of this current homestand. And it will be away and out of here for the weekend and back on Monday. the Los Angeles Dodgers. So remember tomorrow night and come on out here and have yourself a lot of fun, as so many people are doing. Here's the pitch now coming on. Bouncing in back of the plate. Low, ball 3 and strike 2. Eddie Casco, of course, has not been up there an official time tonight since he drew a walk in the second inning. So he's batting at 258, 258. Eddie has 3 runs batted in, and he has 4 doubles in a total of 8 hits. The pitch down. He swings and misses for strike 3. Pulled the string on him that time. And he struck out to retire the side. No runs, with no hits, 1 left, and there were no errors. At the end of 4 innings of play, the score is Houston 1, Cincinnati nothing.
Well, another reminder that the Colt 45s have again made arrangements with Trans-Texas Airways for ticket outlet sales throughout the great Southwest. Trans-Texas, with extended time-saving schedules now serving more than 60 cities throughout the Southwest, will make it easy for you to visit Houston for Major League Baseball. Just go to your nearest TTA ticket counter, make your flight reservations, and pick up your advanced game reservations at the same time. And here's another suggestion. For information on special baseball rates, write for the new Shamrock Hilton baseball brochure. You'll get all the information you'll need to make your visits more enjoyable in the luxury of the world-famous Shamrock Hilton Hotel. So write for your copy today. Write Baseball Director, care of the Shamrock Hilton Hotel, Houston. Yes, a great combination. Colt 45's National League Baseball, the Shamrock Hilton, time-saving convenience of Trans-Texas Airways, and Lowell Pass.
Oh, here we go. Well, we want to thank you for a moment here for all the nice comments concerning our broadcast up here, these nice letters and cards, and don't think that we don't appreciate them. Believe you me, right here at Colt Stadium. All right, here's left-hand batter Johnny Edwards up there. The catcher leading off and drives down the right field line, curving in there, and in fair territory. There's the pickup falling down, though, Rusty, but he manages to make his throw to the cutoff man for a base hit, a single, holding Edwards up at first base. Rusty came across the foul line, slipped and lost his footing, but he was up quickly, holding Edwards to a base hit, a single. Well, the St. Louis Cardinals just cackled the Dodgers there for 3 in the first inning, 3-0 over Los Angeles. James hit a homer in the first with 2 men on. A 3-run shot. Koufax is the pitcher for the Dodgers, and Simmons working for the Cardinals. A couple of left-handers. All right, here we go now. The pitch on the way. Bunt try. He checked the bat away, but the pitch was over for strike 2. Cardenas, the shortstop, has been up once and forced a man retiring the side. That was in the second inning when Eddie Casco came up with a sensational play of this ball game, going deep in the hole, backhanding, jumping and throwing to second for a force fly to retire the side. Pitch swung on, beats one, the dirt just behind the plate. Strike 2. Cardenas batting .385 this trip up there. But as we all acknowledge, I'm sure that batting averages don't mean quite as much the first week or so as they will after you once get about 3 or 4 weeks under your belt. And then you start separating the men from the boys. Now a bullpen, we've got lefty Joe Horner lobbing a few throws. Bruce's pitch swung on, one lifted out into left field shallow, coming in fast. Spangler closing, he's there, makes it's the ball though, and it's in behind him. Spangler made a hard run in front of Walt Bond. And it's going to be charged an error. Spangler got on it after he had pulled up, slowing down almost to a stop, and the ball got away from him. It is an error. So runners are holding at second and first. 1-0 score. Houston leads, but right now the Reds with runners at second and first, and nobody out. And here's the pitcher, Joey J. Well, how do you like this? Joey J is a switch hitter and has been known to give him a long ride. In fact, he hit one out on us up in Cincinnati. Not this year, of course. As a left-hand batter, too. He can bat them both ways. Pitch, and he bunts foul off to the left of the plate. Running in there, Bruce from the mound, veering out on the third base side of the plate a little bit. And Reynolds was making tracks in from first. So we have 0-1, strike one, the count. 1-0 game. Houston leads. We're in the top half of the fifth inning. Total of 4 hits now, given up by Bruce. And while we wait for Bruce and Astro to confer, let's pause for station identification. This is the Colt 45 Baseball Network.
71 degrees, it's 8:30. KPRC 95.0 in Houston.
Well, he tries another bunt. And strike two for Joey J. This time he jabbed at the ball with that bat. It came on the inside, breaking stuff, and he missed. He's just trying to plunk it down into the fair dirt there. Off a bit to the right of the plate this time. 0-2 the count. Bruce ready. Check back on the run of the pitch to the plate, and it's just outside. Threw him a big break here. Over the outside, but a little way. Ball one and strike two. Joey J looked at the third called strike his first time at bat. 1-0 Houston. We're in the first half of the fifth inning. The Reds put up the threat here now with runners at second and first and nobody out. Lefty Joe Horner is down in the bullpen throwing for Houston. Time is called, and Jerry Grody is being called out to the mound. Bruce wants to double check with him. Well, they tell us that they expect Claude Raymond to leave the hospital tomorrow. Claude, hurry up, old buddy. We need to see your smiling face around the scene here for these 45s. Ready to go, the pitch, and he bunts foul off to the left of the plate, strike three. So another strikeout recorded by Bob Bruce as Jay did not successfully put down his sacrifice bunt, and it's 1 out with 2 aboard. Well, that brings on Pete Rose, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him try. Rose has gotten off to a slow start this year. An average of 196 starting tonight's game, and he is 0 for 2 tonight. He tried a bunt, and it was close, but he was thrown out by Nellie Fox. And then he bounced out, Fox over to Pete Runnels. So let's see what he does here. The pitch, and he's taken straight away through there. Strike one call. Are you chunking in there, Bob? Come on, boy. Breeze him, son. Infield double play depth, of course. Nellie Fox yelling it up around from second over there. He walked in behind the runner and then comes back out to his position, playing on left-hand batter. Another switch hitter. One of the few ball clubs in big league ball that has 3 switch hitters in a row. Jay, Rose, and Ruiz. The pitch. Inside and low. Ball one and strike one. And it was back in the third inning that they came up in order. Joey J, Pete Rose, and Chico Ruiz. All 3 switch hitters. Outfield well around. Actually not as deep as they would on some of the other big boys in the lineup. And the pitch. And there's strike call of beauty. Got letter over the outside there. Head. Ball one and strike two. And Rose sort of spun around, looked at the umpire as if he asked, what? Ball one, strike two. 1 out. 2 on. Runners at second and first for Cincinnati. And Bruce is ready. Checks his runner. Pitch on the way. Change of funnel hit down to Runnels. He steps on first, and runners advance to third and second. So an unassisted put out as Pete Rose bounds out unassisted to Pete Runnels, and his only play was veer over and tag the bag. The runners were off and running. The bouncing ball was not a vicious streaking bouncer. It had a couple of pretty good tall bounces on it in the grass. So we have Chico Ruiz, batting him left-handed, of course. He's grounded pitcher first and flied to center. And now with runners at third and second, 2 men are out. Bruce kind of toying the dirt with his spikes here on top of the mound, looking down, thinking it over. Now looks in for the sign. He's ready. Rocks back, and here's your pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike one. Are you chunking in there, Bob? A 1-0 ball game. Houston leads. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Tough little man up there. Chico Ruiz. Pass to the pitch, and that's a fastball missing just outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. And there's Casco with a little footwork around sort of behind the base runner at second. They've got Cardenas up there. Edwards at third. Ready again, and the pitch. He runs and bunts. He tries, but he can't get hold of it. Strike two. Chico Ruiz running up on that one. Tried to cross up the right side of the infield. Of course, Runnels and Fox playing back a bit on the left-hand batter. Again, reminding you, Joe Horner is down there warming up for Houston. Ball one and strike two. They were trying to squeeze across the run and a base hit here. The pitch. Change, swung on, looped out towards right field. Matty Fox goes back. He's there. He's got it. That one had enough arch on it, a spin, to hang up there. Nelly hauled it down out into shallow right field to return the side with no runs. On one hit, there was one error and two men left on. Now the game going to the last half of the fifth inning with a score. Houston 1 and Cincinnati nothing. All right, now it's time for action to get underway. Here in the last half of the fifth inning, Jerry Grody, the young catcher, will get a nice applause as he steps up there. Well, the fans, of course, most everyone here listen to spring games from out of the Florida training sites. And Grody had himself quite a spring, and the young fellow putting up a good battle. He and Johnny Bateman sharing the catching and chores. And he tripled his first time up tonight, driving the only score of this ball game. Moves back on the fast inside pitch, ball one. Grody really found the sweet spot on that one and drove it all the way into the corner, 427 feet from home plate for the three-bagger, driving in the only run of this ball game. All right, here's the pitch. Swung on it down to the shortstop, hard up with it. Cardenas throws to first in time, and Grody hit the ball very hard. Well, I tell you, that's doing okay. Come up your first time as a regular major leaguer and hit a three-bagger and drive in a run. So we can forgive him and excuse him as he rolls out the second time at bat.
Oh, do you think he'll remember that first at-bat?
Oh, boy, will he remember that. And down through the years, there'll be a lot of people remembering that one, John. Bateman and Grody putting up the big battle, and you know, he said down in spring training, he says, yep, I feel like I can play a lot of regular baseball, and he had it with great determination when he accented that one. Here's the pitch now to Bob Bruce, and he takes low outside, ball one. His pitch, high, ball two. 2-0. Houston scoring in the second inning, and it's 1-0 pitch. That's down the middle for strike call. St. Louis shot out in front of the Los Angeles Dodgers 3-0, 2 innings in that ball game. Pitch swung on, hit into right field down near that line in fair territory. Base hit for Bob Bruce, and it rolls dead in front of Robinson. The first hit by a Colt 45 pitcher for 1964. The honors go to Bob Bruce. So how do you like those apples? A lot of firsts, and of course we'll be noting them for you, is Al Spangler. Spang, of course, is looking for his first base hit this season in regular play, as he lined one to Johnson at first base, lined out of there, and then went out 3-1. First baseman to the pitcher covering, so you can tell that both times he had a chance. In tonight's ballgame, the pitch, there's low for ball one. So Spangler, who was 0-2, still looking for the first hit. Time for a moment, and Bruce is going to walk in and to the bat, the coaching box at first base, get the windbreaker, a jacket. After one pitch was delivered, 1-0, Bruce decided to call for it. Big, tall Darren Johnson standing beside him there, waiting for him to put that jacket around those shoulders. Now he's ready. And Joey J. working with third baseman Chico Ruiz in a bit on the grass. Looking down Spangler's throat there. Now the batter, here's the pitch to Spang. Swings and drives foul up to the left and into the crowd. 1 ball, 1 strike. So we're here in the last half of inning number 5 with a score Houston 1, Cincinnati nothing. Cincinnati with 4 hits. Houston has 3 hits. And our battery is supercharged here tonight. Brody, catcher, has driven in a run, the only score of the game, and Bruce has 1 of the 3 hits so far. Bob at first, the pitch. Swung on, slashed foul as he was trying to put that one down left field way. It appeared to us from our broadcasting booth, which is located out to the right back here, looking down on home plate. Ball 1 and strike 2 with 1 out. And we got 1 more game to go in this series with Cincinnati tomorrow night at 7:30. All right, here's the pitch on the way. Change swung on, hit down past first base, foul. So a ground foul. Count hangs at ball 1 and strike 2. And a nice letter here, and from a youngster for the, let's see, Jerry Lisiak out of Milwaukee. Say hello to Al Spangler in hopes that he gets a lot of base hits, especially against the Braves, this young fellow said. Pitch, swung on, foul back, loops over the wire for a strike. And he said he's been a Colt 45 booster since their existence, and he really enjoys the broadcast over WWL New Orleans. Goes all the way up into Milwaukee there, Bob. You'd be interested in knowing that. All right, Joey J. into position now, the stretch. Bruce with a careful lead at first. Is the pitch to Spangler. Swung on, hit down to the right side. Backhand try, can't get it. It's in there for a base hit. So first baseman Johnson, second baseman Rose, crisscrossing, and the ball was through them in that certain spot. Holding at second, Bob Bruce. So Spangler gets his first hit of 1964. I know where to go in there, Al, old boy. And it brings on Nelson Fox. Ellie is 0 for 2, tied both times. Today I chatted with several people who've been out to see games here, and they've already started talking about, in addition to the regulars like Kirk Farrell and Ken Johnson, and fellows who have been putting on some good performances, but Nellie Fox and Eddie Casco and Aspromonte's big comeback, and so forth, and Runnels' big comeback at the plate too. Nellie Fox up there waiting now, 1 out, runners at second and first. Pitch swung on and missed, and ooh, did Nellie take himself a cut at that one? How about those apples? Nellie looked like he was trying to tee off on that one. And he's got Robinson fairly deep back there in right field on him. Veda Pinson about medium deep in center. Still a little bit leery of this fella. Here's the pitch. And he dribbles 1 foul off to the right. Little roller off that first base line. 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes. And 1 out with a score of 1-0. Down in the bullpen, right-hander Hal Brown has started warming up. That left-hander Joe Horner getting ready a little earlier in this ball game. All right, the pitch down. Nellie takes it low. And Nellie has to be very careful. He yanked that bat away. But if you'll notice, when you come out here watching Nellie Fox, he has the ability at the very last instant to yank the bat out of a swing. And most of the time he succeeds. 1 ball, 2 strikes. If the pitch, of course, is out of the strike zone. Next pitch, curve bouncing it off to the right, but not far enough, allowing an advance as Edwards jumped out and picked it up. That ball was a big breaker, dropped off the table and into the dirt. Ball 2, strike 2. 1-0 game. Houston leads. We're in the last half of the 5th inning. What do you say, Nellie? Let's pick up Bruce at second. Go ahead and bang 1 for extra bases, whatever you like. 2-2 the count. Joey J. Reddy, the right-hander, down with the pitch. Swung on and hit into shallow center. Going out, second baseman Rose coming in. Veda Pinson, and Pinson grabs it for the put-out. And Rose, at the last instant, ducked out of there. I thought they were going to collide because Benson, I guess, waited till the last instant to verify that he was going to take it. All right, here's Pete Runnels, who has 1 hit and 2 trips up there. Runnels has a total of 8 hits on the season. And Walter Bond is on deck in case Runnels gets aboard. So we have 2 on, 2 out. Houston leading in this ballgame 1-0. Each club now with 4 hits. So it's been more of the pitchers type duel. Quite a reversal of last night's game. Ready working the pitch. And there's a curve over. A good breaker. Strike 1. Strike 1. Don't forget now tomorrow night at 7:30. Houston up against the Cincinnati Reds. 7:30, I think, is an ideal starting time, don't you? More and more people agree. All right, pitch. And that's inside. Ball 1 and strike 1. Manager Kraft said today that Naughty Bart would pitch Friday night, Dick Farrell on Saturday, and Skipper hopes to have his pitching so that Hal Brown, Johnson, Naughty Bart, and Farrell will pitch in that order against the Dodgers. They'll be in here Monday. All right, ready to go. 1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch. Change, swung on, hit down to the left, down to the shortstop, over to Rose. So Cardenas to Rose to force out number 3, and that retires the side. Well, no runs on 2 hits and 2 left on. There were no errors. At the end of 5 innings of play, it's Houston 1 and Cincinnati nothing.
What a delicious difference in New Montclair. Every puff tastes as fresh as the first puff.
Taste the delicious difference in New Montclair. Taste the delicious difference in New Montclair.
Why the delicious difference? Why does only Montclair make every puff taste as fresh as the first puff? The secret is in Montclair's modern activated charcoal filter. Only Montclair puts the menthol in the filter where it cannot burn. That's why only Montclair filters in freshness and flavor the whole smoke through. You'll never know how good tobacco can taste until you smoke Montclair. The cigarette for those who want every puff to taste as fresh as the first puff.
Taste the delicious difference in New Montclair. Taste the delicious difference. Taste and compare. And you'll smoke only New Montclair. Only New Montclair.
What a delicious difference in New Montclair.
How about it now? The hot shots are really tooting up a tune down there. See if you can pick them up, Bob.
Leading off the Reds, the center fielder, number 22.
Now that's Go 45 Dixieland Swing Band parading around through the stands down here, and the fans do enjoy having that bonus entertainment. But, of course, out at the old ball game, you get all the excitement, the drama, the tenseness, and the laughs and the fun that you could possibly think of. And more for your money, I guess, than any other entertainment I can think of right now. Leda Benson is the leadoff batter. He's 1 for 2. And Bob Bruce rocks back, delivers, swung on, hit hard down to Nellie Fox. He's got it. Over to Runnels at first. He's out of there, and it's 1 away. So the 45 peppered around the infield. 1 pitch, 1 out. And here is Frank Robinson. Frank has 1 for 2. He's hit the ball very hard both times, single to center, and then hit into a double play. Robinson hitting at .281 and has 2 runs batted in. Bond wandering around very deep out in left field now, swinging back around a little more to, well, he's up a bit towards left center. There's one hit down third baseman. Aspro on 2 bounces, throws over to first. He's out of there. So Aspromonte had that one sort of take off, and he shot the glove up about shoulder height. He speared it and then fired him out at first. How you going in there, gang? That brings on Darren Johnson.
Darren Johnson.
Well, how you like that quick work up there so far this inning, Gene? He hasn't even got the arm loosened up. And all the while, Hal Brown right hands a few throws in the bullpen. The pitch down the middle for strike call. So Bruce over the top, whipped it right over the knees through there. He struck Johnson out in the second inning and then singled to left off Bruce the next time around. The pitch, and there's strike 2 called. Well, if they don't strike out him, he's going to put him in there. No how. 2 out. A 1-0 ball game. We're in the first half of the 6th inning, and the pitch. He swings and misses. Strike 3. He went for a real bad pitch. Off the ground almost. And Bruce mows him down with no runs, no hits, none left on, and there were no errors. 4th strikeout recorded by Bob as we go now to the last of the 6th inning. It's Houston 1, Cincinnati nothing.
How do you make the fresh taste of a cigarette last the whole smoke through? Well, that's easy. Just smoke new Montclair. You see, Montclair has found a way to make every puff taste as fresh as the first puff. How? Well, Montclair puts its menthol in an activated charcoal tip, not in the tobacco. And because the menthol's in an activated charcoal tip, it's released puff after puff, so it adds to the flavor the whole smoke through. If you want the fresh taste of your cigarette to last the whole smoke through, why not try new Montclair today? What a delicious difference in new Montclair. Every puff tastes as fresh as the first puff. Look for new Montclair in the handsome blue pack wherever cigarettes are sold. You'll never know how good tobacco can taste until you smoke Montclair.
Well, back here again at Colt Stadium, Bob Bruce reached back and got that big curve, big wrinkle, and struck out Darren Johnson, and that gives him 5 strikeouts in the ball game. That retired the side, so we move into the last of the 6th inning. Big Walt Bond is the leadoff batter. Aspromonte will follow him, and then Rusty Staub. So, Joey J. and Bob Bruce, starting pitchers, are still up there, and quite well they should be. 4 hits apiece, given up, and a 1-0 score. Houston leads. Jay into the motion now. Waiting is Bond. Here's the pitch. Walt swings and fouls it off. Seemed to go a little bit early on the swing. Strike 1. That's really talking about people all around the country listening to our broadcast. If you think it don't really get around, you know, the Colt 45 souvenir gift packages you've heard us talk about. We've had orders in here from Marietta, Georgia, Smackover, Arkansas, Pittsburgh, PA, New Orleans, and many, many other cities. There's a hot shot liner down to the first baseman, Darren Johnson. And Bond is out as he lines to Johnson at first. Well, Gene, he's hit that ball very hard on several occasions, but somebody was standing right there most every time. Here's Bob Aspromonte. Aspro struck out looking at the 3rd call and then walked. So he's been aboard with a base on balls, hitting 3-4-6. The pitch to Bobby, swung on, bounced foul, and Lumen faked a catch on it, lets it go by. One bouncer through the box at 3rd. Strike 1. So Aspromonte, who was batting .360 and now .346, looks at this pitch, ball, and it's ball 1 and strike 1. Jim Dixon has started loosening up a right-hander for Cincinnati down to the bullpen in right field. Dizzy Dixon, his pitch. Swung on, foul back, looping over the wire. And into the crowd it goes. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-0 ball game. Houston leads, and we're in the last half of the 6th inning. Come on, Bobby. What do you say? 1 down, no base runners, and Joey J works. The pitch, Astro takes it high. Ball 2 and strike 2. Bob Aspromonte has hit safely in all 7 of our games so far this year. So I don't know whether you could say pressure builds up, whether he's really thinking about that. I don't believe he is, really, right now. Leda Penson had hit in all games and came through again tonight for the Reds. Here's the pitch. Swung on, foul back. Way up high into the crowd. And it's ball 2, strike 2 for Aspromonte. Well, the fellow got himself a souvenir there. Yes, sir. And the gray fedora. He pockets that one and says, you can proceed with the game, gentlemen. Ball 2 and strike 2. 1 out. Here's the pitch. Astro swings and drives one down through short. Backhanded try. There's a throw over to first base. In time. A very Cardenas, who went back in the hole, grabbed backhanded and fired to first, and Aspromonte, trying to leg that one out, was thrown out by Whisker. 6-3. Aspro disputes the call, and I believe he's being waved from the game, at least. And there's Aspromonte, completely upset about the situation, and as much as it appeared he was very calm in his remarks or questioning the decision of the umpire, and it draws Harry Kraft from the dugout. It appeared that Augie Donatelli cracked down with the "You're out of here" sign as he flung that right arm out and in the direction of the clubhouse. So there would be two waved from the game tonight. Johnny Temple, of all people, was given the old heave-ho. Well, they tell me that when you see a ball player occasionally waved out of the game, you know he came to win, not just to play the game 9 innings, but to win it. So that's all a part of the game, isn't it? And has been down through the years. So Aspromonte being given a nice ripple of applause as he departs the scene and crosses the green carpet in front of the plate now. Heading for the dugout first of all, I'm sure, and then will make his exit. And manager Harry Kraft is right up shoulder to shoulder with Augie Donatelli at first. They're exchanging a few words. Actually, Jimmy Adair also kind of stepped over and peered in for a few words to Donatelli on his decision or his judgment of out at first on that play from shortstop Cardenas over to Johnson on Aspromonte's ground ball. It was very close. I guess it could have gone either way and would have created more of a riot like out of the dugout from the Reds there. So it was that close. Well, manager Harry Kraft now walks just beyond the mound, behind the mound, as he leaves the infield. So Aspromonte, who disappeared into the dugout, is still down there. I didn't see him leave, fellas, unless he crawled through a secret exit. I don't know of any doubt. So he's still down in there. Well, of course, we had Johnny Bateman given the heave-ho the other night, and Cott Deal has been waived from a ball game. Or rather, it was Cott Deal. And Bateman, the first night that one of our men was given a quick shower on behind the mound as he leaves the infield. So Aspromonte, who disappeared into the dugout, is still down there. I didn't see him leave, fellas, unless he crawled through a secret exit. I don't know of any doubt. So he's still down in there. Well, of course, we had Johnny Bateman given the heave-ho the other night, and Cott Deal has been waived from a ball game. Or rather, it was Cott Deal. And Bateman, the first night that one of our men was given a quick shower, and actually, Aspro comes to the front step and is giving a few last parting shots out there to the plate umpire, Al Barlick, and it could be that Harry Kraft also has been given the sign to leave, and he steps up, and he is leaving the ball game. So both Harry Kraft and Bob Aspromonte have been asked to leave tonight's ball game. And so Harry Kraft was out there saying a few last words to Lumen Harris. All right, Rusty Staub is the batter, so we have two men out. On that bouncing ball hit down to Cardenas in the hole at short. It appeared just for fleeting seconds there that Aspro had come up with a base hit. There's still some doubt, of course, in the minds of some of the spectators here. All right, here's the windup by Jay and the pitch down to Rusty. Takes it, ball outside. Looking in, that sign, 1-0 the count. Around comes the arm in the pitch. It swung on, fouled off to the left side. This portion of tonight's play-by-play being brought to you by the American Tobacco Company makers of Montclair modern cigarettes. One ball and one strike for Rusty Staub with 2 out. No base runners. We're in the last half of the 6th inning, and here comes the pitch. Rusty swings and hits that changeup, and out through the middle it goes. Base hit for Rusty Staub. So Staub gets hit number 4 on the season. And hit number 5 in the ball game off Joey J. Eddie Casco looking for his first hit tonight. Has walked and has struck out. He was on with a walk and stole second in the 2nd inning, and Brody plated him with his booming triple up the alley in right center. All right, we're ready. Jay with a check of the run of the pitch. Inside, ball 1. Well, they're playing them for keeps, of course, now here in the National League and the American League. And tempers flare a little more quickly. Sensitive feelings about this great sport of baseball. Lillis is down there doing a little loosening up, and will go in on that infield. Quick throw to first. Bob Lillis loosening up. Ready to work. And the pitch, it is low. Ball 2 and no strikes. This Dixon, right-hander, still loosening down in the bullpen for Cincinnati. Eddie Casco right up there waving that big bat. Soaking up a bit on the handle of it. And there's the look at first. The pitch to the plate. Swung on, hit down past to the first baseman. He's got it with a sensational grab. Up and steps on first. Boy, how did that... 2 of them now for Darren Johnson tonight. Almost unbelievable. And that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left, and there were no errors. At the end of 6 innings of play, the score is Houston 1, Cincinnati 0. All right, before we have first batter up here in the 7th inning, let's pause for station identification. This is the Colt 45 Baseball Network.
And KPRC 95.0 in Houston. 1 minute after 9, 70 degrees.
Here's the first pitch to Bob Skinner. A little bit high and outside for ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. So we move on to the 7th inning now with Houston leading 1-0. Skinner will be followed by John Edwards and Leo Cardenas. There's a drive into right field. Way back in the corner. Staub on the run, and he got it. Just on the foul line. Good long run by Rusty. And he hauled that one in just as he hit the foul line. I would guess probably 30 feet or so, not even that much, probably 20 feet from the corner. So a well-hit ball by Bob Skinner. And a good catch by Rusty Staub in right field, 1 down. Here's the catcher now, Johnny Edwards, left-handed batter also. Edwards has 1 hit, a single, and 2 times. Safe on a fielder's choice back in the 2nd inning. Bruce's first pitch to him. A little bit outside for ball 1. San Francisco beat Milwaukee this afternoon 8-6. Pittsburgh at Philadelphia and Chicago at New York both were rained out. 1 ball, no strikes. There's a hard-hit ground ball back at second base. Casco can't get it. That'll be a base hit. Right through the box up the middle. So Edwards has the 5th hit off Bob Bruce tonight. A hard ground ball right up the middle. Casco ranged to his left, but he couldn't quite get to it. And Spangler plays it back in from center field. So Edwards now has 2 for 3 tonight. That evens the hits here at 5 and 5. And Leo Cardenas, the shortstop, is coming on. He was safe on an error by Spangler in the 5th, dropped his fly ball, and was safe in the 2nd inning on a fielder's choice. He has been up twice without a hit. Fox comes out to say something to Bruce. So the Reds have 1 away, a man on first base here in the top of the 7th. Houston leading by a score of 1-0. Not much of a lead by Edwards off first base. Here's the pitch by Bruce. Fastball low and outside, ball 1. Minnesota beat Washington this afternoon 7-6. Boston and Baltimore postponed in clement weather. And after getting started tonight, Cleveland and Kansas City postponed in the 2nd inning. 1 ball, no strikes. Cardenas, a right-handed hitter. Edwards on first. Time is called now, and Dick Sisler is going to have a few words with Edwards. Calls him off first base. New York at Chicago tonight in the American League. No score at the end of 3.5. Whitey Ford going for the Yankees and Gary Peters up for Chicago. Detroit and Los Angeles will be getting underway in about an hour. 1 ball, no strikes. Edwards takes his short lead off first base. The pitch to Cardenas, swing at that curve, and he missed it. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Left-hander Hal Woodishik and right-hander Skinny Brown loosening up for Houston down the left field line. Outfield is fairly well back for Cardenas around the left side. Bruce's 1-1 pitch now, and Cardenas takes a strike up around the letters. 1 and 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bruce was 1 win and 2 defeats against Cincinnati last year, and Bob's lifetime record against the Reds, 2 victories and 3 defeats. 1 ball, no strikes. Keeps an eye on Edwards at first base. Here's the pitch. Slow curveball. Oh, baby. Did he get out in front of that one? That came up so slow that I think Grody just now caught it. He struck him out, and that's the 6th strikeout for Bruce tonight. And now Joey J is due to bat. But we're going to have a pinch batter. Marty Keogh is going to bat for him. So Jay is being lifted here with 2 outs and Edwards on first. And a left-handed batter, Marty Keogh, is coming on to bat. That means that Jim Dixon will be coming on to pitch in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Keogh has not had a hit this year. Actually, he's been at bat only once officially. Last night he came on as a pinch hitter and was hit by Farrell, and he got credit for a run batted in on that one because the bases were loaded at that time. That's his 1 run batted in so far this season. So Keogh steps in with 2 outs, Edwards on first, here in the first half of the 7th inning. Fastball, strike on the inside corner at the belt. Strike 1. Bruce using his slip pitch, slow curves, and an occasional fastball. Is out in front here, Keogh with a strike. Not much of a lead by Edwards off first. There's a slow curve and dug out of the dirt by Grody, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 count. Tacoma leading Oklahoma City 2-1 at the end of 3. Chuck Taylor started for the 89ers. Larry Bohannon now in the 4th. 1 ball, 1 strike. Edwards is singled in between Skinner's fly ball to right field and a strikeout of Leo Cardenas. 1-1 on Keogh. Here's the pitch. A curveball, ground ball to Fox at second base. Nelly's got it. Throw to Runnels. He's out to retire the side. So Keogh bounces out second to first. For Cincinnati in the 7th, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 man left on base. We go now to the bottom of the 7th with the score: Houston 1, Cincinnati nothing.
Have you ever tried to describe the taste of your favorite cigarette to another smoker? You know what happens. You start searching for words, and pretty soon you end up saying, "Here, smoke one." Well, that's why we suggest you taste and compare new Montclair. That's the only way you'll find out for yourself that Montclair gives you a taste that's deliciously different. You see, Montclair makes every puff taste as fresh as the first puff. And the reason is this: Montclair puts its menthol in an activated charcoal tip, not in the tobacco, and releases it puff after puff, so it adds to the flavor the whole smoke through. Why not taste the delicious difference in Montclair today? You'll never know how good tobacco can taste until you smoke Montclair. Look for new Montclair in the handsome blue pack. What a delicious difference in new Montclair. Every puff tastes as fresh as the first puff. Montclair from the American Tobacco Company.
Last half of the 7th inning now, and the new pitcher for Cincinnati is Jim Dixon. This is the first appearance of the year for Dixon, and he's making it against his former teammates, the Colt 45s. Dixon was traded over to Cincinnati during the offseason, along with pitcher Wally Wolf, who now is in the minor league organization of Cincinnati, for Eddie Casco.
Leading off for the 45 is the catcher, number 8, Jerry.
Here's Grody stepping in now with Houston leading 1-0. Hits are all even at 5-5. Jerry has the only run batted in tonight, a triple his first time up in the second, and he grounded out to shortstop in the fifth. Right-hander Jim Dixon, 6'1", 185. Born in Portland, Oregon, now lives at Seaside, Oregon. Here's the windup and the first pitch on to Grody, right-handed batter. Jerry hits a high pop foul, sailing up into the seats back at first. Strike one. Nobody out, nobody on, and Bob Bruce will be up next. Dixon was in 13 games for Houston last year, won none and lost one. One strike the count on Grody. Here's the pitch by Dixon. Ball that missed outside at the knees, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 count. Joey J lifted after 6 innings for a pinch batter. Gave up 1 run and 5 hits. He struck out 2 and walked 2. 1-1 count now on Grody, giving him the hole on the left side of the infield. Here's the pitch, and it's low and outside. Ball 2 and strike 1. Most of the hitting that Jerry did in spring training was to the right side. I think only 2 of the hits that he had all spring that we can recall offhand went to the left of second base. And his triple here tonight went to the 427 sign in right center field. Jerry waves the bat around now as Dixon winds again. Here's the 2-1 pitch, fastball. 2 low, ball 3, and it's 3-1. So Dixon gets behind on Grody. Just received a long-distance telephone call from Dahlgren, Virginia. Colt 45 fans up there listening to our ball game and pulling for our club. Dahlgren, Virginia is 50 miles south of Washington, D.C. Mighty good to hear from you all up there. Here's the 3-1 pitch now by Dixon. Grody swings at a fastball up around the letters, and the count goes out to 3 balls, 2 strikes. Full up now on Grody. And Dixon has a sign again now from John Edwards. Time called, and Grody wants that pine tar cloth to rub up the handle of his bat. Only run scored in the second. Casco walked, stole second base, and Grody tripled to right center field to drive him in. Dixon up on the rubber again now. Here's the 3-2 windup. The pitch to Grody, and there's a call. Strike 3. Struck him out. Fastball on the outside corner of the belt. So there's the 3rd strikeout for Cincinnati pitching tonight. 1 away. Here is Bob Bruce coming out now. Just been announced that Joe Nuxhall will be the pitcher for Cincinnati in the series windup here tomorrow night at 7:30. Ken Johnson will go for Houston. Here's Bruce. Bob has 1 for 2, singled in the 5th. And the first time up, he fouled out to first. Here's the windup by Dixon. The first pitch to Bruce, and it's a ball outside. Bruce has become the first pitcher, as Lowell mentioned, on our ball club this year to pick up a base hit, singling down the right field line. 1 ball, no strikes. Outfield shades to the right side for him. And there's a ball that's inside. Ball 2, and it's 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes. The total crowd tonight is 5,653. 5,653, and the official paid 4,742. 4,742 paid. Ball 2 and no strikes on Bruce. Top of the batting order, Al Spangler will be up next. Dizzy Dixon, a right-hander, working for the Reds. Ball high and outside. Ball 3. 3-0. So Diz having trouble with his control. He got behind on Grody, but eventually struck him out. And now it's down 3-0 here to Bob Bruce. Here's the windup by the Cincy right-hander now. The pitch, a fastball, strike up around the letters, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike. Bruce, of course, taking all the way. Dixon on for Jay. This is his first inning. Houston leads it by a score of 1-0. Here's the 3-1 pitch now, and Bruce lofts a foul ball up into the seats off the right side. So the count is out all the way now to 3 balls and 2 strikes. After 3.5 innings, St. Louis 6, Los Angeles 1. Full count on Bruce. Robinson not too far off that right field line, and Veda Pinson moved over to right center field. Dixon starts that windup again now. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Ground ball, right side foul, and behind Jimmy Adair. So the count holds up at 3 balls and 2 strikes. 7:30 tomorrow night for the series windup. We'll be up in St. Louis on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but right back here again on Monday when the world champion Dodgers move in for 4 games and 4 nights. Monday night, the opener of that series. Full count now on Bruce. 1 out. Crody opened the inning by striking out. Here's that 3-2 pitch by Dixon. Very high, almost threw it away, and Bruce is on with a walk. So that's the third base on balls allowed by Cincinnati pitching tonight. And here's the top of the batting order, Al Spangler. Well, Al has had 1 hit tonight, a roller between Johnson and Rose in the right field. In 3 times at bat. Hit the ball hard in the first inning. Line drive that was speared by first baseman Darren Johnson. So Bruce is on base for the 2nd time and is 3 times up tonight. 1 out. The Colt 45s lead at 1-0 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Al Spangler, left-handed batter. Ruiz now moves on the grass in front of third. Dixon takes a check at Bruce on first, and the first pitch to Al is a fast strike on the inside corner of the belt. Strike 1. 0-1 count on Spangler with Nellie Fox due up next. Pitch on the way by Dixon. Curveball. Ground ball to second. Rose is waiting for the tag, and then he goes down to first base. The play is back, and they have Bruce caught in the rundown now. Played back by the shortstop Cardenas, and the tag is made at first on a good slide back in by Bruce. But it's a double play after all. Actually, Bruce stopped to prevent the tag by Rose. So Rose goes over to first base to Johnson for out number 2. And then the rundown goes from Johnson back to Cardenas. And then Cardenas shot the ball back over to Rose, who made the play at first to retire the side. So that ends it on the double play here in the 7th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. And at the end of 7 innings of play, the score is Houston 1, Cincinnati 0.
Say, did you ever hear this song, A Little Bit Independent? Remember how it went? A little bit independent in your walk, a little bit independent in your talk, and so on. Well, there's a new version going the rounds that you've probably heard many times lately. Listen.
Taste the delicious difference in New Montclair. Taste the delicious difference in New Montclair. Taste the delicious difference. Taste and compare. And you'll smoke only New Montclair. Smoke Montclair.
Taste the delicious difference in New Montclair is good advice if you're a smoker. Because Montclair is the cigarette that makes every puff taste just as fresh as the first puff. You've heard me say why. Because the menthol is in the activated charcoal tip, not in the tobacco. That's why it keeps working for flavor the whole smoke through. So how about it? Make your next pack Montclair Modern Cigarettes from the American Tobacco Company.
There's a little bit of that swing down there right in front of us. Well, we're all set to go into the 8th inning now. Bruce arrived in the mound a little bit late. He went back in the dugout to try to freshen up a bit after his collision at first base. We have a 1-0 lead now, and the first batter up for Cincinnati will be the top of the batting order, Pete Rose. Down in the left field bullpen for Houston, left-hander Hal Woodishick and right-hander Hal Brown continuing to warm up. Here's Rose stepping in now. He's been up 3 times without a hit. 3 times has grounded out, twice to Fox, and then unassisted to first base to Runnels. Bob Bruce now going into the 8th. Hits are all even in this ball game at 5 and 5. Rose, a switch hitter, batting left-handed. Here's the windup by Bruce, and the first pitch on the way, and Rose bunts a foul right back into Grody, and it's strike one. Bob Lillis, who has replaced Bob Aspromonte at third, is in close in the grass. Both Aspromonte and manager Harry Kraft were ejected in the sixth inning by first base umpire Augie Donatelli. That brings to 4 now ejections for Houston this year. Cott Deal and John Bateman were run out earlier this year. Strike, beautiful pitch up around the letters. Strike 2. 0-2 count. Zico Ruiz will be up next, and he'll be followed by Vada Pinson. 0-2 count. Bruce goes into that windup again. Here's the pitch, and he got him. Foul tip. He struck him out. Rose is arguing about it, but the plate umpire, Al Barlick, says he has struck out. And there's the first time that Rose has struck out tonight. That's the 7th strikeout for Bruce now. And it brings up the third baseman, Chico Ruiz. Ruiz is 0 for 3. Grounded out, flied out, and popped out. Outfield swings fairly deep and around the right side for Ruiz. The big swing at the curveball around the knees. He missed it, strike 1. Bruce now has struck out 13 batters in 9 and a third inning so far this year. 1 strike to count on Ruiz. He lobbed that one up there, and it was outside, a little bit low, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. 45s came on tonight with 3 victories and 4 defeats. In 7th place, 2.5 games out of first. A year ago this time, we had won 2 and lost 5. We were in 9th place and trailing the league leaders by 3.5 games. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Ground ball right side. Fox over. Nelly gobbles it up. Throw to first. Got him. Good play by Nelly. He had to move quickly on that one. Moving to his left. And Ruiz, very fast, is out by about 1.5 steps or so at first. They're 2 away now. Here's Vada Pinson. Pinson has 1 of the 5 hits off Bruce. He picked that up in the 4th. Flied to center field and grounded out to second. Pinson takes it outside, ball 1. We've been sort of wondering now as each inning goes by here just how Bruce might be feeling, because he has not pitched this distance for quite some time. He's in the 8th now. Here's the windup now, the pitch on the way to Pinson. There's a high pop foul, and this ball is in play. Bobby Lillis down the line for it, has a lot of room. He's got it to retire the side. So Pinson ends the inning by popping out foul to Lillis. 3 up, 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. And we go now to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Colt 45s 1, the Reds nothing.
Smokers, next time you buy a pack of cigarettes, why not enjoy a taste that's deliciously different? Try new Montclair Modern cigarettes. Montclair lets you taste a delicious difference on the first puff. Lets you taste the same delicious difference right down to the last puff. Montclair makes every puff taste as fresh as the first puff. The reason? Montclair puts the menthol in an activated charcoal tip, not in the tobacco. And because the menthol is in the activated charcoal tip, it's released puff after puff, so it adds to the flavor the whole smoke through. You'll never know how good tobacco can taste until you smoke Montclair. Pick up Montclair Modern cigarettes today. What a delicious difference in new Montclair. Every puff tastes as fresh as the first puff. Look for Montclair's handsome blue pack wherever cigarettes are sold. Montclair, from the American Tobacco Company.
Bottom of the 8th inning, and Nellie Fox will lead off now for Houston. Colt 45s lead it 1-0. Nellie will be followed by Pete Runnels and Walt Bond. Well, Nellie is 0 for 3 tonight. All 3 times he has flied out. And each time he has gone to a different field. Left, right, and center. Dizzy Dixon, a right-hander, working in relief of Joey J. This is his 2nd inning on the mound. Jim's first pitch is fouled up in the seats off the left side by Fox, and it's strike 1. 7:30 tomorrow night. Cincinnati again. Joe Nuxhall going for the Reds. Ken Johnson for Houston. It'll be your last opportunity to see the 45s until next Monday. We'll be gone to St. Louis over the weekend and back on Monday against the Dodgers. 1 strike the count. Here's the pitch on the way to Nell. There's a base hit. That one knocked Diz's cap off. Oh, Jim, I hope you're all right. That took Dizzy's cap right off his head, and he got down just in time. Woo-wee. A base hit by Fox. Let's get the glasses here on Jim. Oh, that made him mad. Boy, there was a close call, and Dizzy got out of the way just in time. A hard shot back over the mound by Nellie Fox. So Nell's first hit tonight. That's the 6th hit for Houston, and it brings up the first baseman, Pete Runnels. Pete bunts one off the left side of the plate, picked up by Ruiz. Throw to first is in time, and the second baseman, Pete Rose, for a moment had his foot off the bag, but he got it back on in time. So Pete lays down a beautiful sacrifice off the left side of the plate. Ruiz made the play to the second baseman, Rose covering on first as Fox is bunted down to second. And now here's Walt Bond. Big run on second now if we can get him in. Houston leading 1-0 here in the 8th. The Reds in the top of the 9th will send up Frank Robinson, Darren Johnson, and Bob Skinner. Bond is 0 for 3. They're going to put him on and try for the double play and pitch to Bob Lillis, who is due up next. So Bond is being given an intentional pass. This will be the second walk given up by Dixon, and the 4th in the ball game for Cincinnati. The fans, or rather I should say the ball players in the Colt 45s, started calling Jim Dixon Dizzy a year ago last spring. He was a roommate of John Bateman's in spring training, and on a real hot night in Apache Junction, Diz said to open the window, so Bateman opened the window, and he said, "You better take the screen off also, John." And John says, "Why take the screen off?" And he says, "Well," he said, "with the screen on, that wind comes through all chopped up." And since then, it's been Dizzy Dixon. Runners at first and second now with 1 out. Here's Bob Lillis for the first time. Bob has been at bat no official times. He has walked once so far this year as a pinch hitter. Right-handed batter. 1 out, runners at first and second base. Dixon's first pitch. There's a base hit, I believe. Robinson can't get it. And the bases are loaded. He can't find it. They're going to hold Fox at third. Bob Lillis on the first pitch dropped one in front of Robinson. Just couldn't get to it, and the bases are loaded. Actually, Fox could have scored on that play, but he had to hold up to see whether or not Robinson had the ball. Now with the bases loaded, 1 out, and Rusty Staub coming up, let's pause for station identification. This is the Colt 45's Baseball Network.
This is KPRC, Radio Houston 95.0. 71 degrees. The time is 9:30.
Well, there's Rusty now. Rusty had a single in the 6th, and if it hadn't been for the strong wind blowing in tonight, he would have had one in the seats in the 4th because he really gave it a ride, but the wind held it up. Ball low inside, ball 1. Bases are loaded. Nellie Fox at third. Walt Bond at second. Bob Lillis on first. The first base hit of the year for Lillis. He now is batting 1 for 1. Came in a good spot. Rusty Staub, a left-handed batter. Here's the windup by Dixon in the pitch now. And Rusty takes it high for ball 2. Rusty's in a spot here to break this game wide open now if he can come through with a base hit. Going to have some activity for Cincinnati in the bullpen now. Bill Henry, a left-hander, is going to start warming up. Dixon behind on Staub. 2 balls, no strikes. Eddie Casco will be up next. Bases are loaded. 1 out. Houston leads it 1-0. Here's the pitch. Ball 3, almost hit him. Ball 3 and no strikes. Rusty will have the take on now, we assume. With his 3-0 count all set to come in. Lillis on first, Bond at second, Fox at third. Here's Dixon's pitch. Ball 4. He walked it, and it's 2-0. So Rusty Staub gets a run batted in, his first of the year, on a bases-loaded walk. And it's now a 2-0 ball game. As Fox scores, Bond goes to third, Lillis to second, and Rusty takes over first. Now here's Eddie Casco. Colt 45s lead it by 2-0 score. Casco has not had a hit tonight. He walked, struck out, and bounced out to first unassisted on a great play, incidentally, by Darren Johnson his last time up. Casco, right-handed batter. Dixon using the full windup. Here's the pitch, and Casco takes it outside at the knees. Ball one. 1 ball and no strikes. Houston has 7 hits. The Reds have 5. Bases loaded here on a single, an intentional walk, a base hit, and a walk to force in a run. Here's the 1-0 pitch. There's a tap out toward third. Dixon is coming to the plate with the ball for the force there, and there's no other play by Edwards. So Casco just tapped the ball between the mound and third, and Dixon came over to make the pickup, and he goes to the plate to force Bond to catcher John Edwards for the second out. Casco safe at first on the fielder's choice. Staub goes to second, and Lillis moves to third. Now there are 2 outs with the bases loaded. And here's Jerry Grody, who tripled in Houston's first run in the second. Has grounded out and struck out. He is 1 for 3. Dixon goes into his windup again. Here's the pitch on to Grody, and there's a very high pop-up down the left field line. Ruiz and Cardenas and Skinner all after it, but no one could get it. Actually, Ruiz overran the ball, but there'll be no play on that one. He was charging hard into the bullpen down the left field line and just overran it. That home run by... Here's a change in that Chicago score, evidently tied 1-1. The White Sox scored a run in the 4th, and Boyer's home run tied it in the 5th for New York. Detroit, Los Angeles not yet started in the American League. Dixon has the sign again now from Johnny Edwards. Here's the windup and the pitch on the way to Grody, and there's a high pop off the right side this time. Edwards over for it by the screen, and he's got it, and the side is retired. So Grody fouls out to the catcher to end the inning. Colt 45s pick up 1 run on 2 hits. There were no errors. 3 men were left on base, and we go now to the first half of the 9th inning with the score Houston 2 and Cincinnati nothing. Say, how would you like to win an exciting expense-paid baseball weekend for 2 in Houston? You'll fly on TTA's new Radar Smooth Convair with its extended time-saving schedules throughout the Great Southwest. Remember, TTA, that's the ticket to where you want to go. You'll enjoy the relaxing atmosphere at the world-famous Shamrock Hilton Hotel with its comfortable rooms, an Olympic swimming pool, and attend special parties. Simply complete the last line of the following jingle. Follow the Colts, they're on the go. The fighting team that's out to show they've got what it takes to win the game. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. That's all, just fill in the last line. Now, all local station winners will compete for an expense-paid trip for 2 to the New York World's Fair on American Airlines. America's leading airline, route of the Astrojets. Now, here's how you enter.
Just complete the last line to the jingle and send it with your name and address to Follow the Colts Jingle Contest, KPRC Radio, Box 2222, Houston. Contest ends midnight, April 30th, so hurry.
Contest ends midnight, April the 30th. Well, this is it now, the top of the 9th inning with the Colt 45 leading 2-0. And Bob Bruce must look at Frank Robinson, Darren Johnson, and Bob Skinner. Robinson, a right-handed batter, has 1 hit tonight and 3 times a single. He has bounced into a double play and bounced out to third. Bruce checks his sign now with Jerry Grody. Outfield deep and around the left side. The pitch to Robinson inside, ball 1. Left-hander Hal Woodashik and right-hander Skinny Brown are throwing again down the left field line. Darren Johnson, first baseman for the Reds, on deck. Here's the 1-0 pitch now by Bruce. Curveball that missed outside, ball 2, and it's 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Robinson looks down at third now to Coach Reggie Otero. Ball 2, no strike count. Bruce set again now. Here's the windup and the pitch on the way. Ball 3 outside at the knees. So he is behind on Robinson. 3 balls and no strikes. Robinson now take one here before he does any swinging. Ball 3, no strikes. Here's the pitch on the way now, and Robinson takes one right in there for a strike, and it's 3-1. Dangerous to put anyone on. Ball 3 and strike 1. Now Robinson will be ready for this pitch. Here's the 3-1 pitch by Bruce, and he lost him. Ball 4, and there's the first walk that Bruce has given up tonight, and Robinson is on with nobody out here in the 9th inning.
First baseman, number 11, Darren Johnson.
Here's Johnson now, the first baseman, right-handed batter. He has 1 hit in 3 times, a single, and the other 2 times he struck out. Fox comes out to say something to Bruce now. Robinson, the base runner at first on a leadoff walk here in the 9th inning. 45s hold a 2-0 lead. Not too big a lead by Robinson off first base. Ball low outside. 1-0. Bob Skinner will be up next. Bond deep in left field. Spangler shaded to left center. Bruce takes a check on Robinson over at first base. Here's the pitch on the way to Johnson. 2 high, ball 2. Ball 2, no strikes. Though Bruce is having his troubles here in the 9th trying to protect this 2-run lead, he has walked Robinson and now is behind on Johnson. Time is called. Here comes Lum Harris. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we have a change right here. Lum has given no signal as he walks across the third baseline. He is appearing right now to go out and just try to settle Bruce down. Bob has walked Robinson, and he is behind on Johnson. Here's a correction on that score at Chicago now. The White Sox have not scored tonight. The home run by Clete Boyer in the 5th is the only run in. So at the end of 5.5 innings of play, the Yankees won and Chicago nothing. Skinny Brown is being called upon. That's all for Bruce. They're going to take him out. Hope it's starting to rain again now. Getting quite a heavy shower as the pitcher change is being made here now in the top half of the 9th inning. So Bruce is going out, and he is behind on Johnson here with a count of 2 balls and no strikes. Well, quite a heavy rain coming down right now. Umpires are getting together along the first baseline. This is now starting to, well, it's still coming down, but it's let up a little bit from the original downpour that we had just a moment ago. So Bruce is all through, and he pitches 8 innings tonight, and Skinny Brown is being called upon to replace him.
Number 38, Al Brown.
Getting quite a heavy mist right now, I guess you'd call it. Skinny Brown is coming on for his 2nd time this year. He made a start earlier, went 6 2/3 innings, lost that ball game. He is 0-1. And in 6 2/3 innings, Brown has given up 7 hits, walked 1, struck out 1, and has an earned run average of 6.43. Pitched against the Milwaukee Braves. Brown is just finishing his warm-up throws now. What rain we had is just about completely let up again now. So Bob Bruce is through for the evening now after getting into trouble here in the 9th inning. And the Colt 45's leading by a count of 2-0. So Skinny says he's all ready now, and here's Johnson stepping back into the batter's box. Frank Robinson on first base. Brown checks the sign with catcher Jerry Grody. There is nobody out. Here's the pitch by Brown. Swing and a miss. Ball 2, strike 1. So Skinny gives him a pitch in around the knees. Johnson ready for the 2-0 pitch. Couldn't connect with it. 2 balls, 1 strike. Pitched against the Milwaukee Braves. Brown is just finishing his warm-up throws now. What rain we had is just about completely let up again now. So Bob Bruce is through for the evening now after getting into trouble here in the 9th inning. And the Colt 45's leading by a count of 2-0. So Skinny says he's all ready now, and here's Johnson stepping back into the batter's box. Frank Robinson on first base. Brown checks the sign with catcher Jerry Grote. There is nobody out. Here's the pitch by Brown. Swing and a miss. Ball 2, strike 1. So Skinny gives him a pitch in around the knees. Johnson ready for the 2-0 pitch. Couldn't connect with it. 2 balls, 1 strike. Skinny ready again now. Runnels holding up against Robinson at first base. Here's the pitch. Outside, he missed on that one. Ball 3, and it's 3-1. Ball 3, strike 1 count. Here's the stretch again now. Look over to first base. Here's the pitch, and Johnson hits a high pop-up in the infield back into shallow center. Nellie Fox is waving everyone off. 1 down. So Johnson has popped out to the second baseman, Nellie Fox. 1 away.
Left fielder, number 24, Bob Skinner.
Here's Skinner now, a left-handed batter. 1 out, Robinson on first base. Houston 2, Cincinnati 0. Top of the 9th. Brown has the sign from Jerry Grote. Now Runnels plays a little bit back off the bag, and Skinner takes a strike on the outside corner at the knees. Still getting a missed here at Colt Stadium. 1 strike the count. Robinson is taking a little bit bigger lead now with Runnels back off the bag. There's a foul that caught Grote on the right arm and then caromed off the right side, and it's a 2-strike count on Skinner. With a left-handed batter up here, Runnels is protecting back of first. Anything hit to the right side, so he is not holding up against Robinson. Los Angeles scored 3 runs in the 6th, and with the Cardinals batting in the bottom of the 6th now, it's St. Louis 6 and Los Angeles 4. Dodgers coming back in that ball game. Stretch again by Skinny Brown. Here's the pitch to Skinner. Too high, and it's 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Catcher John Edwards will be up next. The light rain that we're getting did not affect the wind at all. It probably is not blowing as hard as it was before, however, but still coming out of the right corner. Here's the pitch. He struck him out. Swing and a miss, and Skinner goes down swinging. 2 away now, and here's John Edwards. So up to this point, Skinny has done what he was called upon to do. He has gotten Johnson on a pop to second and struck out Skinner, and here is the always dangerous catcher, John Edwards. 2 outs. Robinson on first. John Edwards has 2 hits and 3 times at bat tonight, and he poured that one in there for a called strike around the knee. Edwards has 2 of the 5 hits that the Reds have picked up tonight, and back in the 2nd inning, he was safe in a fielder's choice. Here's the stretch by Skinny. The pitch, and Edwards waves at probably a knuckleball that broke down and in on him. And it's strike 2. So Edwards down, 2 strikes to Skinny Brown, working in relief of Bob Bruce, top of the 9th. Houston leads 2-0. Frank Robinson on first base. Arms down by Hal Brown. Checks Robinson on first. Ground ball. Runnels got it. Bounces, hits him in the chest. Throw to Brown. The ball game is over, and Houston wins 2-0. The first shutout of the year, and Brown gets a save. Bruce will get the win. That ball looked like it caught Runnels and took a bad hop right underneath the chin, but he fielded, threw it to Brown at first base, and the ball game is over, and the Colt 45s win over the Reds here by the score of 2-0. In the 9th inning, no runs, no hits, no errors. 1 man was left on base, and the final score, the Colt 45s 2, the Reds 0. Well, here are the totals now for this evening's ball game, with Houston winning it by a score of 2-0. For the Colt 45s, 2 runs on 7 hits, 2 errors, with 9 men left on. And for the Reds, no runs, 5 hits and no errors with 7 men left. The winning pitcher is Bob Bruce. He has won 1 and lost none. Skinny Brown will get a save in this game. And Joey Jay was the losing pitcher. He now has won 1 and lost 1. The total attendance tonight, 5,653. The official paid 4,742. And the time of the ball game, 2 hours and 17 minutes. Well, that wraps up our play-by-play this evening, with Houston winning over the Reds by a score of 2-0. This evening's game has been brought to you by Montclair Modern Cigarettes. Montclair makes every puff taste as fresh as the first puff. That's because its menthol is in the tip, not in the tobacco. So it adds to the flavor the whole smoke through. Smoke Montclair from the American Tobacco Company. And by the Pearl Brewing Company, brewers of Pearl beer. Better because it's brewed with famous spring water from the country of 1100 Springs. And Country Club malt liquor. Not a beer or an ale, but a totally different kind of drink. It's mighty good. Now this is Gene Elston along with Lowell Pass, with a reminder to stay tuned for a recap of the game, late scores, and an interview from the players' dugout, all on the Colt 45's wrap-up show coming your way in just 1 minute. This is the Colt 45's Baseball Network.